Hey Oliver, did you know that you could have paid $80 to have a cardboard cutout of yourself sit in Shea Stadium and watch the Mets play baseball?
No, what? Go
God
on,
damn
our
it.
first cold open.
God damn it, hello.
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 God damn it, even. I'm
Yeah,
Oliver the Ricketts. I'm not a cardboard cutout. I'm the real guy.
I'm Jeremy Kessler. I might be a cardboard cutout. It's up for debate.
And I'm Brittany Spear, and I'm definitely a cardboard cutout.
You are a cardboard. Where'd the real one go? Have I ever met the real Britney Spear?
Remains to be seen.
So my dad is a big Mets fan, and he is watching the Mets game, and they have a bunch of cardboard cutouts in the seats, and he told me about this.
Wait. So, okay, I work in video streaming, right? So the whole topic of sports coming back is a big topic of debate at my job for how much are we going to need the streaming. But if they're only letting cardboard cutouts in to see games, then I guess we're really going to need the streaming.
I understand that people will pay for pretty much anything nowadays, but to pay $80 to have a cardboard cutout of yourself at a game that you are not present at,
that may or may not get filmed.
was it $80 and you would see yourself on screen, or
There's
are
a
you in
camera
the
built
are
into its
are you
head.
in the fucking nosebleeds and it makes no difference?
So what I told you is about all the information I have. I do have one extra piece of information, and that is good news. If you're a season ticket holder, you get the cardboard cutout for free.
Wait, so it's a cardboard cutout of you? You send them a picture?
I
Yeah,
think
how does that
so.
work?
I don't know.
How are they customizing all of these cardboard? Because I could see if you got a proxy holder for your seat.
Maybe it just says the person's name.
Imagine
That's even stupider.
Imagine you're a big enough Mets fan that you get season tickets, and then sports can't happen this time, and the Mets go, best I could give you is I could put a cardboard cutout in your seat.
But you don't have to pay for it, so you win.
Well, you paid,
but you paid for it
by
for
buying
the
season tickets.
No, I know, but you don't have to pay more for it.
That's like if Disney told us we're not going to give you any time back on your annual pass, but we're going to Photoshop you into all the ride drop pictures.
I was not able to find out if you can keep the cardboard cutout for yourself or not.
How would you even know if it was actually there?
Right.
That's a good question.
Is it a different charge for a front row cardboard cutout versus a nosebleeds one? Because the front row will be on TV?
That's exactly what I asked.
No, I know.
For.
I'm asking what is the rate?
This is not information I have. I'm sorry.
Jeremy,
I wish I could help.
If you're going to implement the cardboard cutout system, then you should fucking have all the information.
Well, I have a cardboard cutout of my own. I can introduce him to you.
Is it a cardboard cutout of you?
No, it's of Danny DeVito.
Wait, what? Is this a
thing?
Wait, what the fuck?
Wait, did you not know about this?
Yo, what the fuck? Why?
I own a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito.
Wait, okay, did we talk about this on this show?
No.
Definitely
How do you know about
Because
it?
he posted about it on Instagram.
Posted about it on Instagram this week.
Because I pay attention.
Well, I probably
Brittany
even
is
liked
my
it,
real
actually.
fan.
To tell you the truth, I thought that was a Photoshop picture. I thought it was weird, but...
Can we talk about, you have to be careful with this. Can we talk about the fact that, Jeremy, I sent you what dog you are, or what dog are you, or what dog you are.
Oh, yeah.
Respond.
I don't know what to say to this.
Jeremy never responds to anything. I text Jeremy sometimes and say, hey, thanks for being such a good friend. And he texts back, okay.
I definitely tell you that I appreciate you as a friend as well.
Yeah, in person.
No, over text I've done that.
Okay, well you've never pulled a Dan fucking talking to you now. You've never pulled a Dan where I go, hey, what's going on? Let's be friends. And Dan goes, are you okay?
Can we
Yes, I'm fine.
pause here for a second?
Yeah.
And this is something I forgot to bring up. We have to recognize that theoretically we have an audience, and we can't refer to our friends just by their names.
Why not?
Not to say that we can't say Dan. I mean, we probably shouldn't say Dan's, we shouldn't say his full name, but we shouldn't just say, yeah, Dan. We should say, like, our friend Dan or our friend from high school Dan, because the audience doesn't know our friends. No, we don't
I'm
have
just
to.
talking about this person for no reason.
At least you, Jeremy Kessler, my very good friend from high school.
And
colleague and host of this podcast are not like our other friend, co-host of this pod. Well, actually on Spotify, he sabotaged us and made it all him. So
I think they only let me put one name down. That was the thing.
So then you should have put all of our names together.
Brittany.
Do you want to take that one again?
Jolliverny.
I like that one better.
That's what I said. That's what I said the first time. Let's talk about the name meme though for a second.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
I fully do not get it, and I do not know how to answer this.
I don't fucking get it either.
I don't get it, but I like to be a part of it.
No, I want to be a part of it so bad.
I had to make Oliver his own because I have not found his name on any of the ones that I've seen.
Okay, just let's assume that we're talking in a vacuum here and that nobody has seen the memes.
Explain.
On Instagram, there's a cool thing going around where it's a frame from a piece of media or a stock photo of a popular thing that people post on their stories, and their name is written on it in a rainbow text. Now, I don't quite get it. I saw Alex, our friend Alex, who's been on this podcast, this very podcast.
This very one.
Not this episode, a different episode, not like an evil version, but yeah, I saw Alex posting it on his story originally, and he was doing it before everybody else, so I kind of thought he made it up. And Alex makes up like a lot of shit that just goes on his story, so I was like, oh, this is just like a funny Alex thing. And then everybody else started doing it, and A, I don't quite understand the joke, but B, I really want to be a part of it, but nobody ever sends me ones that I'm included in. Because I guess there aren't other Olivers asking for them.
So I've seen 3 so far, and I've done, or 3 that I wanted to do, and it was what beverage are you? Which Nick Miller from New Girl are you? And then today it was which dog are you? And today in the what dog are you, I was able to find pretty much almost everyone's names. I sent one to Jeremy. I sent one to our friend Alex. I sent one to my friend Hallie, and even she has 2 sons, and I sent her her 2 sons' names and her husband's name. I sent one to my friend Sam, my friend Gabby. Like everybody I was able to find on the dog one. I went through like 400 pictures, except for Oliver.
Yeah, no. Aww. Well, and now here's the thing.
I had to make him his own.
I've heard a rumor that some of these, so it's each one is from like an Instagram page called like what, and then insert name of thing are you. And as it turns out, a lot of them just allow you to ask them to make you one.
Mm-hmm,
so I was like, you know what? All my friends are getting what dog they are. I want to play too. So I'm going to submit my own name. So I hit their story and it said, oh, go to this website to submit your name. And I did it, and it put me to a Cash App link, which means people are paying to find out what dog they are.
Which is almost as bad as paying for a cardboard cutout of yourself to sit at a Mets game.
That sucks. I found this meme, found in quotes. I found this meme because I got sent by a username on I had never heard of this, and a username on Instagram in Russian, so I had no idea who the fuck it was, and they sent me this.
Oh my god!
And I had never heard of this meme before, and I was so confused. And the only instance I've ever wanted to know is I'd really like to know what frog I am, but I couldn't find my name. I love frogs. I don't know if you knew this about me. I actually really like frogs.
What are you in the gatekeeper in The Good Place?
Yes, I guess so, huh?
He love frogs.
He really
I bet
loves
his
frogs.
name is Jumpy.
Well, I don't understand. How do you just open up Microsoft Paint on your computer and put your name on whatever dog you want?
It's not Paint, it's Snapchat. That's how I made yours. Yours is the exact same thing as what the dog page was doing.
It's not the
Put
same.
your name on whatever dog you want. Well, I guess it's not the same if I pick the dog.
I picked the dog for you based on your personality.
Right, which was I'm a golden retriever.
Here, I'll show you this camera, which I thought we weren't doing, but Jeremy did it.
No, Jeremy's going to put up these pictures on the screen.
I will send it to him. It is also on your story.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pull it up. I'm sorry. iPhones are terrible creatures, and mine just doesn't work anymore. So, okay, continue.
Mine's been doing this stuttering problem lately.
Yeah, mine just like doesn't work anymore. It's
Fun.
yeah, and every day it
Buy
has
the new
more,
one.
Yeah, every day it has more and more gigs of like other data
Because they're
being
putting
used.
well, it literally
and
says
just
cookies and catch, so it's
literally,
literally
like,
Apple just putting shit on your
edging
phone.
out all of my own like content of myself.
Hey, Apple sucks, but I
you have an
have
iPhone?
the iPhone.
Yeah, you do. Well, here's the thing.
Same.
It's about the only product that I will never turn away from, regardless of how shitty it gets, because they have the best interface.
I don't know, man.
I was at
might not buy an iPhone next phone I get, but that's
Listen,
far off for me.
all I'm saying is I was at a shoot the other day and we were using Sling Studio, yesterday being the other day. And Sling Studio lets you, which is the one we make the multi-camera version of this show on, but Sling Studio lets you bring in smartphone feeds. And somebody handed me their phone and it was an Android, and it took me so much time to fucking figure out how to open and close an app on the Android phone. The interface makes no fucking sense.
It's just because you haven't used it. I bet it's just because you've never used it. Like,
Sure,
it cannot
absolutely.
be.
But you know what? I don't want to change. I like this. This could catch on fire in my pocket and I would go buy the same one tomorrow.
So
Sure,
I'm doing
I
what's
like
called-
this. I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't like that it's falling apart.
I was actually pointing to the Apple logo, not that it was falling apart.
Oh.
I don't like Apple. It sucks.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to show you the picture, but I've been trying to open my Instagram since Oliver started his story,
I will.
and my phone is just not allowing it to happen. Oh, there we go.
That's a good dog.
Yeah.
That
That's
is a
me.
good dog.
I'll send it to you.
That is
Yes.
a pretty cute dog.
Yeah, and then I'm this dog, just in case anybody wants to know. That is apparently who I am.
I guess because we're doing this, I'll show which dog Brittany sent to me that I am. It's this one. I just don't know how to answer these. Is the pro? Like, I didn't answer it because, like, I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like,
that dog.
Cool.
That dog definitely has a Jeremy attitude.
Uh-huh.
Because he's not thrilled with the bandana on his head, but he also is wearing the sassy bandana.
I think
anyway.
he might be a little cooler than Jeremy.
I don't think anybody's cooler than Jeremy.
Well, then why, when Jeannie asked you what the coolest thing you saw ever was, you didn't
I
say
didn't say
Jeremy's
Jeremy.
face?
Because I don't actually think Jeremy's
Jeremy,
sexy.
I have a
I'm not
question
very cool.
for
Trust
you.
me.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
This is a
And
good question.
This is going to be hard for you to answer because I know you need time, and we couldn't even
I
figure out an
couldn't do it.
answer.
Hell yeah.
What is the coolest thing you've ever seen?
The coolest thing I've ever seen. I definitely feel like there is an answer, and I like have it in my head, but I don't know where it is.
I feel like it also
That makes
has
sense.
to be like a real life thing, like not something you've seen in a movie or a TV
Sure.
show. Just to lay the groundwork. I've seen a lot of cool shit in my life. I firmly believe that. I've done a lot of cool stuff.
Mhm.
But you know, I can't think of one instance that would register as the coolest thing I've ever seen. I can think of a lot of things that are the funniest thing I've ever seen or the strangest thing I've ever seen. But cool is like a niche. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen, Jeremy?
Oh my god, I don't know, man. Like, I do need time to think about these things. For context, for our audience, we decided on episode 20 what our episode 30 list is going to be because I'm going to take that long to figure it out. Like, I need time to figure things out like
And
that.
you've already tried talking us out of doing
And
it.
stress texting me about the whole ordeal.
This is episode 22.
Jeremy was sexting me, if you will. Sexting.
It
No,
was
he
more
wasn't
about
sending me pictures of Shrek.
no. I
No,
was
that's
trying to.
strexing. I'm saying strexing.
He was strexting me.
I was trying to play it safe because I really don't know what my list is going to look like. I was trying to play it safe of like, let's keep a backup in our minds just in case because I have no idea.
I thought of a good one the other day, and it made me laugh for like a long time. And did I text it to you or no?
Definitely not.
Fuck. Because I forgot what it was. And I was literally holding my phone going, let me text Jeremy that idea. And and then I guess I just didn't do it, so it's just lost now.
Is it the Veggie Tales soundtrack?
No, what is that a list?
What?
Is
Oh, I thought you meant like an album for the list.
Oh,
Oh, that would be funny. Wouldn't it if I just came in here with a straight face and Veggie Tales episode 1, the sound. Veggie Tales episode 22.
Let me give a little backstory here. Almost every time I go to Oliver's parents' house and interact with, well, here's the thing, the circumstance has to be specific. All of the Ricketts children have to be present, and just Pam, Oliver's mom. And then those are the perfect components to randomly start singing Veggie Tales.
Well, the thing is, oftentimes one of us will accidentally reference the Veggie Tales song, since Veggie Tales has so many songs. And once that happens, all bets are off. So somebody will assume that you also know the Veggie Tales song.
Let me ask this question. Jeremy, do you know what Veggie Tales is about?
it's about sentient vegetables, and it's also pretty Christian.
Right.
Well, it's every episode is a parody of the Bible.
Great. Oliver?
Parody? That's not a part I knew, I guess.
No, it's not a parody.
They are
It's-
no. They are maybe not every episode, but at least every other episode. There is a reenactment of the Bible
That doesn't
with
sound like a
vegetables.
parody.
Okay, but that's not a
doesn't sound like
parody.
parody.
That is
no,
a parody.
that's
It's saying, wouldn't it be funny if Jesus was a cucumber? That's the most hilarious thing. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It sounds more, it has always to me sounded more like, let's teach kids about the Bible, but use vegetables so that they like it more.
yes.
So use cartoons so they like it more, not
Right.
I was
vegetables.
going to say, what a strange thought. You know what's going to make the kids like Jesus?
Vegetables.
Cucumber.
Okay, now I have a question for
His
you,
name is
Oliver.
Larry.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What religious denomination do you classify yourself as?
Atheist.
Right, and why is that?
I don't believe in God
Why is that?
because my whole
Because I
Bible.
saw a vegetable sing about it one time, and
Yes.
that's just too absurd.
Well, once I
Because-
learned that vegetables.
Well, there are adult people who are atheists that were raised to be Catholic or Jewish or whatever, but they have chosen to be atheists. How are you raised?
I was raised with no religion. Everybody knows it. There's
There
no
you
shame
go.
in being raised with no religion.
So it strikes me, and none of the Ricketts children have been raised that way.
well, okay.
So it strikes me as very odd that they all just reference Veggie Tales all the
We
time.
love.
To me, that is likely why you view them as parodies, because you were not raised
Yeah.
Well,
to believe it.
Yeah, the
It's
Bible
not a
stories
parody. Like, you
themselves.
understand that a parody is like making fun of something by redoing it. This isn't making fun of
I
it.
guess it is the highest flattery that we're going to imitate it as vegetables. Okay, so parody. I misspoke. I also want to put out there. My father and my mother. Well, my father's not religious, but my mother believes in God and all of that. But my father was an altar boy for years.
As was mine.
And decided that he didn't want to take part in the Christian or Catholic, whatever he was, religion.
Catholic.
Yep, because he's Irish. The Catholic religion, because they were too mean.
Right.
Oh.
Which was good on him, because I agree to an extent,
My
just
dad
for
goes-
my own personal taste.
My dad goes back and forth with if he believes in God or not. I think he's on a God kick right now, but my dad was also an altar boy. If anybody knows my dad and Oliver's dad, you'll know that they're very much like the same person, except
Parallel universe.
parallel
versions of each
universe.
other.
Yeah, they're like each other's tethered, I suppose you could say, because they're the same person on paper, but when you meet them, they are vastly different.
Jeremy, when did your dad drop out of Catholic school?
My dad was raised Jewish.
You
So
knew
right
this.
at the beginning.
Yeah, from the start.
From birth.
He was never admitted.
That's funny.
Well,
My dad recently sent me, he found census data from like 1920.
wait, what?
I don't know. I just was thinking about this. He found census data from like 1920 and was like, look, here's your great grandfather.
Wow.
So I found out where I'm from partially the other day because I didn't know. That was where the story was going.
My grandfather was I got two grandfather stories. My grandfather was an iron worker. And if anybody has ever gone across the Throgs Neck Bridge, that was his big project. Apparently, the whole time I was growing up, I was told, "Yep, your grandfather built this bridge. He wrote the plans. He put the bridge together. This was all him. And, only as like a late teenager did I put together like, wait, he was just an iron worker. Like he may have worked on the bridge.
He didn't invent
He
the
didn't
bridge.
invent the bridge.
First bridge ever.
Well, and that makes it even funnier because your brother, Theodore, wanted a bridge tattoo, like a tattoo of the Throgs Neck Bridge.
Well, okay, but see, that would have been like, that was like a family story that he built the Throgs Neck Bridge. It's false. Well, it's technically not false. He did build part of it.
In like the simplest phrase you could use, you could say, yes, he built the bridge, but like, so did like probably hundreds of other people. And he didn't design the bridge. He was not the architect of said bridge. He was just laying the work for the bridge.
He designed where those pieces were going to be placed when he placed them there. He also graffitied his name on the bottom of it. It's still there.
Okay.
So that's
full
good.
name? Does it say Ricketts somewhere?
It says Fat Ricketts.
Heck yeah, that could be you.
That could be, if I decide to go by that. That could. It's lucky that he went by a nickname.
So now his whole family gets to lay claim.
Yep, that's. On a side note, every person in his life called him that. Just a fun fact: his real name was John, but every single person in his whole life called him Fat. My grandmother would knit him sweaters that said she would knit sweaters for everybody in the family that said the names, like Molly Weasley. But his, instead of saying John, because they had a son named John, his just said Fat. And then people would say, "Oh, hey, Pat," and he'd say, "Read that again." And that's the funniest thing that I've ever seen.
That sounds so much more mean-spirited than it is. So I'm working at that camp now. That started.
Cool. Yep, I know this. We've said this on several shows now.
Yeah. I took a big spill the other day at camp.
You took a big...
I took a big spill.
Can you elaborate, please?
I fell. I fell at camp. It was big. It was bad.
Bad, unapologetic.
I fell forward, and I still wound up on my ass, and I don't really know how it happened. My glasses got ejected from my face. They like fucking flew away from me. It was... look, I'm just gonna be honest. It was fucking funny. It was probably hilarious.
I was laughing in hysterics as I hit the ground.
The problem is that nobody saw it.
Okay.
So it was just sad instead.
This is the story.
I thought that somebody would have something to say, but you didn't.
This is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
The funniest thing that nobody got to see.
The funniest thing that nobody got to saw. I'm sorry you fell down. Are you injured?
No, I'm not. Only my pride, I guess. But nobody.
The image of Jeremy's boss coming over to Jeremy lying on the floor laughing.
I wasn't laughing. That was the thing. I fell for like a bit, and then I just sat there in it, and no one was there, and it was just really sad. And it was fucking funny, man. And I just wish anybody got to see it.
You know what I wish I didn't get to see, Jeremy?
What?
All right. Strap in. Is your seatbelt on? Here comes the story, Jeremy. Ready?
Just tell it. I'm waiting for you to tell it.
All right, let's do it. So we are residents of a town in Long Island that allows us to go to some local beaches. Which has been a really big blessing during this whole COVID thing, because unlike going to Robert Moses or Jones Beach, which are the big beaches on Long Island that everybody goes to, I feel pretty safe going to the local beaches. Nobody's ever near you. The beach is nice and empty.
And they are only allowed to operate at 50% capacity, which I think for the entire beach is like 900 people.
And is already significantly lower than a Robert Moses or a Jones Beach or any of the main beaches on Long Island. So, and it's just good to be able to go outside. It's been a very relaxing thing for the weekends, especially being stuck inside. So we were at the beach that we go to. I was going to say it, but I didn't. Last week. And we brought a couple friends who were not able to access the beach, and they wanted to leave before I did. So they parked in like a public lot, and I went and picked them up and then brought them to the beach in our car.
Which is 100% legal to do because that other beach you park at is open to anyone.
Well, that's why it's there.
Right.
So anyway, I'm bringing them back to the other beach, right? And they're leaving before. So I'm getting up to go to the car, and on this beach, there's a big dune, right? So I'm walking out with these people that we brought to the beach, and this man walks up to me, speaking in like very broken English, and like Chinese man comes up to me, he says, well, you climbs over the dune into view also, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I go, what? He goes, you volunteered here, you know. I say, no. Then he goes, but you've been to the beach before. I say, well, yes, I have been to this beach because I'm a town resident.
Just a very different thing. It's a very different situation.
So he goes, well, where should I park my car? So now I'm thinking, because when I was leaving, the whole beach was filling up, like more than I've ever seen it filled ever in my life, to where I'm like thinking like, this can't all be residents, you know? So I go over the dune and I look on the highway, right? And all the way down the highway are people just parking on the shoulder of the road. And then not only in the shoulder, but they've also started double parking and just leaving their cars in the lane on the highway. So there's only one lane that you can drive in, right? Because the parking lot across the street, which is where you're supposed to park your car, was full. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, that can't be. What happened was that they closed down Robert Moses, which is the big beach. And instead of going home like these people were supposed to, they all unanimously decided, hey, let me ditch my car on the side of the highway, climb over this dune, and go to this local beach. But when I say all the way down the highway, I mean easily 150 cars.
Yeah.
No question. To where when I was driving back, you had to make like a U-turn and then drive past all the cars. I drove all the way down to see if I could get to the end of the line. And it's all cars. And then there was like a cop car in the one active lane on the highway because nobody could get past. And there's people like just jutting out of their cars. So you can't drive your car down the highway without, or you're going to hit somebody. And there's a policeman just going up and down, ticketing all the people who parked in the middle of the highway. And I just like, this is the fucking problem with the COVID right now is we'd be done, but you have retards who just, you have idiots who just can't follow the fucking rules, you know? And it makes me so angry because there's, first of all, there's already a cap on that beach and you shouldn't be going if you're not a resident unless you're a +1.
Right.
But also, of all the times to do this, you're doing it when there's a pandemic and the beach is at half capacity anyway. And you're taking up the entire highway so that people are going to get run over. Like, I don't understand how freaking stupid people get. I don't know. And that's why I'm mad.
It's gotta, you see 100 cars parked on the highway, you think, okay, you must be allowed to do this. So the 101st person goes and does it. I get that. Who's the first person that's like, this must be good?
Well, I want to talk
This
about...
is okay.
The only thing that I can think of is that about a quarter mile down from the beach that we go to is an off-road section of the beach that you need to have a special permit to go on. And a lot of times there are cars parked on the side for that, but they're not actually parked. So in order to go off-roading, you need to actually let some of the air out of your tires. So like that's a process and you don't want to drive around with less air in your tires all the time. So you have to, right. So you have to get out of the car before you go in, let the air out of your tires. And then when you go to leave, you have to pull over, put the air back in your tires, and then you can go. So my theory, at least, is that maybe people down the line saw some of these cars parked by the off-road inlet and were like, oh, these people are parked because they're not locals. They don't understand that is like a specific off-road area where people are allowed to get out of their cars and like, drive their cars onto the beach or whatever. So they probably were like, oh, all these people are parked on the side of the road and they're just going onto the beach.
So let's make a U-turn.
I'm going to make a U-turn, turn around, park behind them, and then go up to the beach. Because it's only literally like maybe a quarter mile down from where we normally sit on the beach.
Okay, but here's the thing. Maybe I could see like 1 or 2 people doing that. Once you've hit 10 people in the lineup, I can't believe nobody said like, oh, this doesn't seem right. There are no spots here. No, this is all grown over.
It's like safety in numbers. It's like, oh, all these people are doing it, so I'm going to do it because clearly it's okay.
Exactly. Like
comfortable, just leave. And what if you're the car at the end of the line? Like, I would be so scared of being sideswiped. But then, okay, you're the guys who parked on the shoulder. That I can at least kind of understand. What about the guys who just decided to double park in the active highway lane and just leave their car there?
Yeah.
How did they get in the situation?
I don't know about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just park my car in the middle of the fucking highway.
Beach is important to people, man.
I mean, it's important to me, and I live in an area that gives me access to local beaches. If I buy a beach pass, I bought my beach pass, I waited in line, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I go to I drive my miles, I go to the beach with my pass, but I can never actually, like, we can't make it to the beach now in less than a half an hour. It is always.
Well, that's because of Robert Moses right now.
Well, but that's the problem, is that there are so many people trying to go to the beach, and that like the people who are trying to get their local access to the beach can't, and it's actually bullshit. It's actually
and
bullshit.
We're trying to do, I mean, all right, if you're going to Robert Moses right now, honestly, I feel like that's very unsafe.
Do you think Robert Moses is too specific of a place name?
No.
Well, it's okay.
It's a Long Island beach.
The big Long Island beach, right? Robert Moses or Jones Beach. Those are the major beaches that everybody knows, right? If you're going to those beaches, you're an idiot. It's not safe. And I see the pictures there, right? What we're doing, we're going to a beach that never has more than 20 people on it at a time, maybe more, but not in the same place. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't walk on Robert Moses without bumping into somebody. So that's number one. Number two is they're doing ridiculous construction on the beach too. So you're also clogging it up for people that are like us that have a safe alternative. So now we also can't go do anything. It's very fresh. And then the other thing that I really hate about this situation is to get onto any of the local beaches, you have to climb over these dunes that are protected by the government because they are like, you're not supposed to fuck with the dunes. Because if you interfere with them, you're breaking down how the dunes like naturally form and grow. You're like fucking up the whole landscape by climbing over them. You know, there's like the paths that you're supposed to go on, but these people are just like going up like on the grassland part and, you know, and going over. That's not allowed either. That's like you can fine someone for doing that.
That's okay. They'll just get ticks and
Lyme disease.
Learn their lesson.
So anyway, Jeremy, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Good to know.
I have to go back to work on Monday, and I don't want to.
I've been at work.
I have to work on Monday at camp. I have to talk to this fucking kid again on Monday. You
What?
cut out for a
I thought we
second.
were going to mention him on the show.
If he listens to this episode, I highly doubt he's getting 40 minutes in.
All right, let's do it then.
So I work with this fucking kid at camp. He's 17 and his name is Jake.
So fuck you, Jake.
I mean,
Okay.
there are a lot of 17-year-olds with the name Jake out
But
there.
not all of them work with Jeremy.
Okay. Well,
So this fucking kid Jake. I can't stand him, and I have to work the whole summer with him. He doesn't have his own computer, but he loves to take everybody else's computer and he sits down at them. This is not the inciting incident, but this is one of the reasons I can't stand him. He loves to sit down and watch this same guy's Photoshop breakdowns, and it'll be like, this picture looks amazing. I'm going to watch this breakdown of how this guy did it. and then he'll sit and watch the video out loud and say constantly throughout the video, man, this guy's a fucking loser. Wow, this sucks. This guy, I can't believe this. And every once in a while, he'll sneak in, this picture looks amazing. God, this guy sucks. He's such a fucking loser. And I can't, I'm trying to fucking work.
Does he Photoshop shit?
He does. He takes, when
okay.
I'm not in the room, he takes my computer to work on Photoshop. And then if I say, hey, get up, I need to do work on my computer, he'll be like, oh, give me a sec. Like,
Nope.
no, you're on my computer.
Fuck that. Don't like that. All right, so what is the inciting incident?
Inciting incident. So one day he,
I'm honorable judge. Hello.
so
and
this boy,
break it to give the verdict.
Can I just say something before you guys start this? Like, I feel like during COVID times, you should not be sharing computers. That is an issue that I have for you.
you know how many fucking times I've asked this kid not to use my computer? Like, I cannot. It's not my fault.
Keyboard
No,
held a
but like
lot of
I
germs.
would just say like to somebody, whoever your superior is, I would just be like, I don't feel comfortable sharing a computer with anybody right now. Like we literally are in the middle of like a global pandemic.
Well, he's not supposed to share my computer.
So it'd be like, get this kid the fuck out of here then.
He's not. I'm video and he's photo. Like we're
Good.
only
So
in the
you're
same
like, okay,
room.
Get the fuck out of here. You got to start being more assertive, Jer.
It's a whole thing.
I'll go down there and kick his ass for you if you want.
Fuck yeah, please do.
I got you.
So the inciting incident, he comes over. We have this balloon in our shed. I don't know why. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there the first week. Whatever. It's blue. He comes over to me and he's like, "Hey, Jeremy." He's been a really quiet kid so far, which whatever, fine. 17, first job. I was a quiet kid my first time at that camp, you know?
Sure.
He comes over to me with this balloon. He goes, "Hey, Jeremy." This is like the most I've heard him talk. He goes, "Hey, Jeremy, pop this balloon for me." I'm like, no, thank you, Jake. I don't want to do that. And he goes, "Okay, I'll pop it." He goes, he stands behind me. He puts the balloon right up next to my face. And he starts squeezing it. I'm like, "Hey, please don't do that right next to my face." And then he goes, "Oh, are you scared of the sound it makes?"
Wait,
Like he's
hold
trying
on.
to start shit.
I'm sorry. I thought at 17 you were already done with middle school.
Yeah, you would think so, huh?
Jeremy,
Why
also
do you have an old school bully at your job?
question, did he blow the balloon up himself?
I don't know where the balloon
That's a
came from.
conspiracy theory.
No, but I'm curious because that's another thing. I don't want balloons being blown up by people with, when there's a respiratory disease going around popping by
True.
my face.
I don't know where the balloon
Don't
came
be
from.
paranoid, but like, yeah. Anyway,
But I go, no, I'm not scared of the sound. It's a loud noise right next to my head. Could you please stop? And he goes, "So pop the balloon for me." I'm like, "No. Now you're being a
This
dickhead."
is a fucking argument that I would have with a 5-year-old.
No, but like I'm like, "No, you're being a dickhead. Stop. I'm not doing this thing." And he goes, "Oh, so you have an emotional attachment to this balloon?" Which is
I'm like,
nothing.
Just fucking here. Next time he's gonna tell us that this kid stole his bicycle. Like he's
Yeah.
like,
No, I look up at this kid. I'm like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "Look it up. Emotional attachment to balloons. There's a TED Talk about it."
And
Of course I didn't fucking look it up. I was like, so he spends the next like 20 minutes going back and forth between begging me to pop the balloon for him and then trying to convince everyone else that the reason I won't pop the balloon is because I'm in love with the balloon. And I just can't, I don't know if I could work with this kid the whole summer.
wow, fuck that. If he's listening, I hope he like fucking grow. Here's the thing: if you were to hear this, I'm sure you would think that we were picking on you. But I'm gonna go ahead here and just say this is for your own good. Don't be a dickhead like that. It's not gonna get you anywhere in life. And if you're at 17 years old, if you haven't figured that out, you have a really big developmental issue that like you need to figure out now because you're never going to be successful if you fucking act like that.
I think he was trying to start a bit with me. In hindsight, the way he was saying like pop this balloon, you're in love with the balloon, he might have been starting a bit with me, but by the time the bit part of the bit started, I was like, hey, stop. I'm working.
Well, here's another fucking
Shut the
piece
fuck
of
up.
advice, for if you're 17 and think you're really funny. Not everybody is your comedy partner. You know, I could do that with Jeremy if I wanted to, because Jeremy and I have known each other for many, many years. But I still wouldn't do that because I would respect the fact that Jeremy is working at our job, you know?
Right.
And I think that is something that if you can't wrap your head around, like, oh, not everybody wants to like pretend they're on a fucking sitcom with me, you're a fucking mess. And you'd probably be homeless later in life.
Probably.
Yeah.
So the judge has spoken.
Fuck this kid.
I sentence him to therapy.
Fuck this kid. I have to work a whole summer with him. And he knows about this podcast.
Good. I hope he hears it. I'm not saying it to be fucking mean. I'm saying it because it's for, you may get fucking mad at it right now, but as an adult, I'll tell you that shit doesn't fly. Best advice you'll ever fucking hear. Cut it the fuck out.
Yeah. Hey, Jake. Cut it the fuck out, please.
Please don't do this to me. Well, we've really been a bitter bunch on this show the past couple weeks because there's this one where Jeremy complained, and not even 2 weeks ago we had a good complaining session on this show. I wish everybody would just grow up.
I have to interact with this kid every day.
And that's the worst.
But like, that was the first thing he did that I was like, oh, wow, hey, fuck this. And now every day he sits next to me and he talks about this video that he's watching.
Well,
and
is there something, I'm not asking even to be a dick. Is there something wrong with him?
I don't think so.
Because like, that almost to me seems like a little obsessive to sit down and watch the same guy make a Photoshop project and comment about how badly he sucks. That to me seems like that's a routine that you can't break. You know,
I think he's trying to do a bit. I really feel like he's trying to entertain, but nobody's having it.
Now, let me ask you this. You work with some other people though. It's not just you and this kid.
Yeah.
How do they feel about this situation?
I think they like the kid. The kid made one joke that everybody thought was funny.
See, that's the trick, is to get in there early, do something legitimately funny.
That was really the first thing. He made one joke that everybody thought was funny, and they were like, you're acting different today. I like this, Jake. And then about 20 minutes later, he pulled that balloon shit, and I was like, I'm not. I'm not about this new Jake.
I'm not into the new Jake. I want the classics.
I want classic Jake that sits around and doesn't really talk a lot. I like him a lot better than
speaking of Jakes, we went to high school with a kid named Jake, who will never in a million years listen to this, so we're good. We went to high school with a kid named Jake that, like, we weren't not friends, but he liked me a lot more than I liked him. And he would skateboard. He was one of those, you know. And Alex, who has come on this show many times, this very podcast, fucking hated this kid. So our school had this hallway that, like, it formed a T, right? Mm-hmm. So you'd walk down the main hallway and you could go left or you go right.
Right.
So Alex and I are walking down this hallway, and this kid, like a cartoon, goes skateboarding by slow as fuck and gives us one of these. Right? And I vividly remember this because that happened. I was like, oh, that was fucking lame. And then Alex goes, how can you just allow that? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, how can you let that happen? I'm like, what was I going to do? Fucking push him off the skateboard? He goes, well, you know him. I'm like, I know him. I didn't instruct him to get on his fucking longboard and go for a ride.
How could you allow this to happen?
You are our last chance.
To all Jakes in the world, stop.
When I was in high school, this kid, I didn't really know him. I knew of him, but I didn't really know him.
Mhm.
Punched through one of the glass panes in the door.
Oh shit.
Because I don't know if he got pissed off or he was supposed to be in a fight or something like that, and he punched through it and like fucked up his hand really bad, and they put the entire school on lockdown for the rest of the day.
Shit. We had a pattern of 3 separate kids, 3 weeks apart, trying to set the same window on fire in the boys' bathroom in my freshman year.
Sweet.
I have no clue what the fuck you're talking about. We went
yeah,
to the same
this
high
was-
school.
Well, part of it was that I knew all 3 of these kids, so. But I'm pretty
Oliver
sure
hang out with a rough crowd. I didn't.
they were all trying to accomplish what the other one couldn't. The problem is that windows are made out of glass and steel in this building, so they were never going on fire. It was a fool's errand, if you will.
Did you guys have bathroom attendants at your school?
No, well, middle school we had a bathroom attendant. He was a weird dude.
I feel
He,
like in our senior year there were people outside the bathroom that you had to like sign in to go in.
Yeah, and like
But
they
I
had,
never used the bathrooms at school.
yeah, like they had to like check your planner or like if you had a pass or whatever.
Oh,
we
no,
didn't-
we never got that, but
we
no.
Oh
that.
yeah, we do that. I mean, you have
Um,
hall monitors though, right? Like you needed passes.
Well, the
so-
janitors
No?
would walk around, but that was it. And then the janitors would say sassy things like they would go into the cafeteria and take chairs to go sit in the hallway, and then people would be like, "Where are you taking the chairs?" And they go, I'm not standing in the hall. These kids are all just gonna have to be friends with each other."
In my school, and I know that they're doing it still because I went back there for my internship. They have bathroom monitors at every bathroom, monitors outside of the locker rooms, hall monitors at like every corner of the halls, I guess you could say. Like, they're just crazy, like security.
I mean,
Yeah, at our high school when I was a freshman, I had off second period, and so did my friend at the time, Chris, and we literally just like wandered the school the entire second period and talked about random shit. Nobody's gonna stop you from just walking around.
one
Yeah,
time when
no,
I was in
definitely
high
weren't allowed to do
school,
that. I mean, I was in like peer leadership and stuff like that, so I was always allowed to, and I knew all the teachers, and they all liked me or just didn't want to talk to me, so nobody ever bothered me.
yeah.
But like I didn't have a problem, but like other people definitely would have.
I mean, one time when I was in high school, I cut gym class, left, went to a completely separate building, and ran into my gym teacher there who was also cutting gym. So
I did actually.
coming and going was not a big issue at our school.
I actually almost got in trouble for cutting gym, even though I wasn't. Which, can you believe Oliver left school
Set
and
up.
didn't get in trouble? I was in the lunchroom.
And ran into the teacher.
I was in the lunchroom during my off period, and it was, I don't remember. It was one of the colder months, but I'm one of those people that wears shorts during colder months because I don't get cold very easy.
Sure.
So one of the lunch aides came over and was like, "Hey, you're supposed to be in gym," because he saw me in what he thought was gym clothes, and started yelling at me for cutting gym. And it's like, if I see you here again. Now I almost got in trouble for cutting gym, and I was like,
You couldn't just show them your schedule and be like, I don't have gym this period.
No, see, a lot of the adults in that building really felt like I cannot be proved wrong or I am a fool. So for Jeremy to do that probably would have been, not looked kindly upon.
I also did one time have one of the aides come up to me, and to this day I actually don't know what she was referring to, but she was like, "What were you doing outside of the doctor's house the other day?" Excuse me? She was like, "He lives, our school has like a hill that you have to go up to like walk to the school." And she was like, the hill up to the school, you were doing something in front of one of those houses. What were you doing? I was like, I don't know
I don't know
what you're
talking
talking about
That's
in the
such
slightest.
a strange non sequitur to start with.
Like,
What were you doing with the doctor in front of his house?
It's like, this is nothing. I really don't know what you're saying to me right now.
And if I wasn't on school property,
It's
then
really
what
not
fucking
your
business is it of
business.
yours?
This is, yeah, I mean, that too. I just, in the moment, I was so dumbfounded about like, What am I getting in trouble for right now?
I mean, as far as school security goes, I feel like we were probably some of the last like generation that really experienced like not a lot of security at school. Because my brother is coming up in the age of like tons of school shootings and incidents with guns. He's actually had, not in his school, but 3 separate students have been hospitalized in his year for gun injuries from shooting each other, which is wild. So I think that's part of it, is that now there's even in that building, there's much more security from what I understand than like when Jeremy and I were there, which is sad. But then sometimes I forget, and like I'll tell him to do things like, you just, because he'll like complain that he has off his last period. I'm like, I just leave. He goes, I can't leave. I get ID'd 4 times every time I go in or out.
So in my school, they outlawed leaving campus for lunch. I don't know if you guys are allowed to leave campus for lunch.
We were.
You are? Yeah. So they
We
outlawed
were, but there
leaving
was nowhere to
campus
go.
for lunch. What?
We were, but there was nowhere to go. You can't
Well,
make
if you had a car, you could go somewhere.
you can't make it to that one burger place and back in time.
Right. So anyway, they outlawed it, so you really weren't allowed to leave for lunch. And the reason for that was because either 10 to 20 years before I went to high school, a girl left campus for lunch and was murdered. So
Oh, shit.
yeah, and was murdered in Lindenhurst, in my town where I live.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they said, you know, they're never allowing students to do that again. But, you know, my senior year of high school, me and 2 of my friends, Caroline and Nicole, we decided that we were going to leave for lunch because we were seniors and we were peer leaders, and, you know, we were good enough students that we didn't really have to follow all the rules. So every day we left for lunch and we didn't die. So
We didn't.
there was that, but I don't think you'd be able to get away with that now.
No.
We always
were
had to
allowed
sneak in.
leave.
We always had to sneak in one of the back doors, and you know who was the hall monitor at the back door? Mr. Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who is my friend now.
Ah,
Hi, Mike Smith.
Hi, Mr. Smith.
He doesn't listen to our podcast.
Well, anyway, how fitting that I'm probably going to call this episode the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Mhm.
And it was a nice little trip down memory lane.
Yes.
One time I took a crime law class in my senior year of high school because I was a bad kid. And I think that was my guidance counselor's 6 sense.
and I just fucking loved the thrill of getting close to the law like that.
I did. The authority was right there. No, I think because I got put in it, they rearranged my entire schedule senior year because my guidance counselor got really angry at me.
Which is
So he-
fucking bullshit. I should have gone to your school.
Oh, it was. Well, he pulled me out of like a bunch of classes, which in retrospect, I didn't wind up going to college, and it did wind up being the correct choice for me. But honestly, if he hadn't pulled me out of the courses that he pulled me out of, I really think that I probably would have gone. I feel like I probably would have gone down a different path had I not been pulled out of these courses, but that's beside the point. I did something bad, and then they decided to punish me by rearranging my schedule, which really fucked with me right before applying to colleges. And one of the bullshit classes they put me in that I really didn't need was fucking crime law to fit my social studies credit. And crime law, it turns out, was the biggest. Like, it was a fun class. I'm not even going to lie, but it was kind of a bullshit class because it was the teacher going, listen, you never trust a police officer, even if they tell you you can. No matter what, the police out to get you. And that was the premise of this class in a nutshell. Now, he did actually convince me on several fronts that might be true. Not always, but like, you know, very cool classes about like interrogations and shit, cool shit. But when St. Patrick's Day rolled around, our whole grade, I skipped school on St. Patrick's Day every year because that's an important day for me because I'm Irish and I observe the holiday. But, you know, it's in the 12th grade that became a senior skip day to skip on St. Patrick's Day and go to the parade, which I did every year anyway. So I specifically remember the whole class was Irish kids. So there was like a McCarthy in the class. There was an O'Leary. There were a couple others. There was a Doyle, and then there was me, Ricketts. We all sat in the same row, and the only one who was not planning on skipping school was the kid McCarthy. So the teacher's talking. He goes, so anyway, when I don't see you all tomorrow, here's what you need to do to avoid a drunk arrest. And he's writing up on the board, giving us diagrams about, like, if a cop comes up to you and you have a paper bag, you ditch it and you run. And I'm not, this was the whole subject matter of the class, was when you're drunk in the city tomorrow, don't go near a cop. But then this one kid whose last name is McCarthy, he goes up to him, he goes, so anyway, when you're in the city tomorrow, what are you going to do? And he goes, I'm going to be here in class. He goes, yeah, McCarthy is not going to skip school on St. Patrick's Day. Sure. And meanwhile, there's 5 other very Irish, just by coincidence, very Irish kids behind him who all have Irish last names, who are all planning on skipping school the next day and trying to avoid a... What a world, Jeremy.
I definitely know what McCarthy you're talking about, too, and he absolutely was in class the next day. There's no way.
You know, I think the teacher was actually out the following day.
Because if I'm thinking of who you're talking about,
It is, yeah.
I am good friends with him to this day. He's only drank alcohol on his 21st birthday, and he hated it.
Well,
he tried a beer, and he was like, oh, that was gross. And he tried another one, was like, that was also really gross. I'm never going to drink beer again. And he says it's one of the most disgusting things he's ever tasted.
Well, you know, alcohol is like an acquired taste. People don't do it because it tastes good. Certainly the thrills of soda or chocolate milk are here for that.
But you have to
Both
be
things I don't
careful
drink.
with fruity mixed drinks
Mm-hmm.
and spiked seltzers, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Those
fuck.
shits will creep up on you. Me last Tuesday when I drank 9 White Claws in 2 hours and then passed out.
Also worth noting, you're not working right now. We weren't being like irresponsible and like drinking, you know.
Whose
It was
fucking
a-
business is it? I can drink whenever I want to. I'm an adult.
Oh, of course.
I am of age. I can drink when I want to.
I was saying the situation, you know, because you got to be, it wasn't like, it was over the course of a full day. You know what I mean?
No, I drank 9 White Claws in 2 hours and I was trashed.
Oh, I didn't know it was in 2 hours.
Yes.
Okay.
I was in the pool. It
Well,
was
they
my
don't-
aunt's birthday. I was having a good time.
They don't taste like you're drinking alcohol.
No, that's the problem. But they're the same amount of alcohol as a Bud Heavy. Bud Light.
Yeah, so 9 of them, that'll send you.
Yeah,
Especially because I haven't been drinking a ton lately, so I feel like my tolerance is lowered.
I also want to throw out, just as we're talking about this St. Patrick's Day, I did actually have a run-in with a police officer on this day because I went to the parade, and I'm a big cigar smoker, you know, and I was a much bigger cigar smoker back then, and I had just turned of age that I could buy a cigar, which the law has since changed, but at this time you were allowed to buy a cigar in New York City at the age that I was. And I was smoking it and watching the parade, and a cop came up to me, and I swear to God, was not doing anything wrong. I actually didn't have anything to drink that day. And the cop's like, hey, come over here with that. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, well, I got to do it because it's a police officer, you know? So I walk up to him, and I'm so scared. He goes, that is the most delicious smell I've smelled all week. Please direct me to where you got that cigar. And we made very good friends. It was great.
I did think the story was going to end with fucking puff it right in my face. Go. This is my kink. Do it right now or I'll arrest you.
Fucking blow it in my face.
Why is that where you went?
This is what I'm into.
Oh.
Blow it through my nostrils. Do it now.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that would be pretty outlandish.
No, what you said definitely made more sense. I just, you know, cigar smoke's not something I do. So, you know.
So clearly it's sexual.
So
No. Okay, I didn't think the police officer was going to be
It
sexual about it.
forbidden sexual
Clearly
kink.
it's kinky.
Well,
All right.
this was a very pleasant interaction, Jeremy, where that didn't happen. Oh, I wonder how that teacher's doing right now. I wonder, like, I'm sure he hasn't had a run-in with the police, but if
You
he
never
did,
know.
he definitely ran away.
You never know.
Like protesting, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm sure he was out there. Well, anyway, we hit
Well,
an hour
anyway.
yet?
Yep.
We're definitely at an hour.
Yeah.
Well, this was a real winner. Let's do the plugs really quick. I only got a couple. If you liked this podcast, good news. It's really easy to listen to all the other ones. You can hear them on YouTube. Every episode is up. You can also hear them on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast, and more, even more. Anywhere that you could think of to listen to a podcast. Frankly, we are there and you can hear us. Secondly, another big thank you to Alexander Fox from VooDooWaterTV. We just did his charity event actually last night, so
3
I will
weeks
leave
ago.
the description. Sure, 3 weeks ago, but
3 weeks ago. We've been plugging that it's going to be in the future.
sure. Well, I did it last night. But the donation links are still open and you can still go donate. So I will leave the video down below. The donations all go to struggling businesses on Long Island that are just trying to get through the pandemic so that the people can keep their livelihoods and they don't have to open and put people in danger, which I think is a good cause. But otherwise, that's it for me. These are the coolest things I've ever seen. Go on, Jeremy, if you were going to start a podcast, how would you do it?
I wouldn't. Good riddance to you.
Good riddance to you.
Good riddance to you.